So imagine getting your monthly mortgage bill and seeing no line for property taxes. I mean, zero. No taxes due ever again. Sounds too good to be true, right? Well, not if Governor DeSantis has his way.
Governor DeSantis floated the idea of getting rid of property taxes during an appearance in Tampa this week.
You think it's fine that you buy property, you buy a home, you own it outright free and clear, and yet you have to continue to pony up money to the government just for the courtesy of using your own property.
Because right now, Florida lawmakers are seriously debating whether to eliminate property taxes altogether, possibly as soon as 2026. But before we celebrate, let's talk about the fine print. Because this isn't just about your monthly payment. It's about our schools, firefighters, police department, civil services, and even how tourists might have to start paying more of the bill. And if we've never met before, my name is Juan Alcalá. I make videos that are all things Tampa Bay, what it's like to live here, what it's like to work here, and what it's like to play here. And over the last 4 years, we've helped over 150 families move all over Tampa Bay. And I've seen a lot of property tax bills. And today we're gonna break down one of the biggest debates in Florida right now. Should property taxes be eliminated? And if you stick around, I'll show you exactly how this can affect your home here in Tampa Bay or in Florida, why Manatee, Pasco, Pinellas, and Hillsborough counties are watching this closely, and why it's likely to end up on your ballot in 2026. So here's the big idea. Governor DeSantis has floated the idea of abolishing property taxes, or at least major pieces of them. Florida House created a select committee on property taxes to draft a specific proposal. The goal is to possibly place a constitutional amendment on the 2026 ballot so you and I can vote for it. But I think the question that we probably have in the back of our mind is why now? And the reality is I think our political leaders see momentum in tax reform. But before we jump too far ahead, let's talk about how property taxes currently work in Florida. Property taxes are local, not at state. Now, there is a portion of your state taxes that do go to education, so I want to make sure that I make note of that. I just got my tax bill, $8,000. It has gone up another $300 or $400, which is nominal, but the reality is it continues to increase, even though we've seen price declines here in Tampa Bay. In 2023, Florida collected almost $51 billion in property taxes statewide. And that pays for things like schools, which is the biggest share, police and fire departments, libraries, parks, and local government services that we all tend to rely on. And if you look locally here in Tampa Bay, if we head over to Hillsborough County, where Tampa proper is, the schools and sheriff's office are heavily funded by property taxes. If we head over to Pinellas County, where our beaches are like Clearwater and St. Pete, you've got infrastructure and coastal management happening. If we head north of Pasco County, growth corridors like Wesley Chapel rely heavily on these funds in terms of infrastructure growth. And if we head south to Manatee County, exploding growth in Parish and Lakewood Ranch equal higher demand for these services. So that leads me to the next question, which is what replacing property taxes could look like. If you eliminate property taxes altogether, you'll need replacement revenue. And I've read things floated out there like doubling the sales tax, going from 6% where it is currently up to as much as 12%. I've also read about expanding the tax base, which would be taxing more services and exemptions that currently don't exist. Partial elimination has been floated, like having the state cover school property taxes, but leaving city and county millages in place. And other exemptions, like increasing the property homestead exemption up to $100,000, has been proposed. Now, I'm somebody who would love to get my tax dollars back every month. I mean, I share with you guys $8,000. I mean, we're talking over $700 a month coming back to my household. That would be a huge win. But the reality is it's not that simple. You know, I want to give an example. If Pinellas County, where I live, loses school property taxes, the state's going to have to step in. That means Tallahassee, not St. Petersburg, decides how dollars flow. It's a big shift in local control. So we have to ask ourselves, does the relief come without a risk? I hope you're getting a ton of value out of today's video. I love getting into topics like this, and if you do too, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button. That way you can be notified in the future. Hit that little bell while you're down there also. And if you're considering making a move to the area and you have more questions, or you're considering making a move to Florida, don't hesitate to reach out to me and my team. All of my contact information is down below. I'm happy to jump on a Zoom call, help you unpack what you're trying to accomplish, show you the communities that make the most sense for your ideal lifestyle. And if you're thinking about relocating out of the area, our team is also able to help you with that. Or if you're someone who's considering moving out of the state this year, we can also help there too. And let's be real, anytime you redistribute someone else's money, there are going to be winners and there are going to be losers. When we talk about homeowners, we could see lower monthly escrow if property taxes disappear, but higher cost at the store. Again, there's been a lot of studies done on this, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more done before we get to vote on this next November. And renters, they don't pay property taxes directly, but landlords do. If taxes vanish, will rents actually drop? Or will higher sales tax eat up the savings? And what about businesses? Well, commercial property owners get relief, but consumer-facing businesses may pay more in sales tax. I think this is going to be strictly related to residential real estate from what the governor's saying, and also primary home ownership, meaning that this isn't your second or third home, and your primary home is in Boston or California, as an example. And what about tourism? Well, DeSantis frames this as shifting the load onto Florida's 137 million annual visitors. But who really pays? And I know there's one thing that a lot of us have learned over the years. When it comes to government leadership, there are promises, there are plans, and there are policies. And the path to get here is not going to be easy. It's going to require a constitutional amendment. In the state of Florida, it needs 60% of the voters' approval to pass. We've already got state Senate leaders warning, don't expect miracles. Critics say you can't cut $51 billion without major consequences. And the governor recently vetoed funding on a fiscal study, leaving a lot of unanswered questions. Now, that study has been done multiple times, but the reality is we all have more questions now that this is becoming a lot more likely to show up on the ballot. So what does this mean for Florida homeowners and our families here in Tampa Bay? Well, if you're buying a home here in Tampa or anywhere else, your escrow could look very different in a few years. But schools in Hillsborough, Pasco, Pinellas, and all over the state rely heavily on these dollars. Services like flood protection, fire rescue, and infrastructure expansion are all online. And to be quite honest, for families moving here, this debate matters not just for your wallet, but also for the quality of your life. So the question is, will Florida actually eliminate property taxes by 2026? We'll know more as lawmakers finalize the proposal this fall. In the meantime, stay tuned, because this isn't just a tax debate, it's a lifestyle debate. And oh, by the way, they're also talking about eliminating HOAs, which is an entirely other video, which we will get to in real time. And like I said before, my name is Juan Alcalá, and if you have any questions about making the move, do not hesitate to reach out to me and my team. We're gonna put 2 more videos up here that'll really help you make a qualified decision about the area as well. And as always, until next time, go out and live that Tampa life.